was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League. I'm Jared, and Vaughn Coleman returns. What's up, brother?
Hey, can't get rid of me that easily. How you guys doing?
I know. Despite how many times I reference Zack Snyder. But anyway, how you doing, dude?
Yeah. No, I personally, anytime someone has any sort of agreement with me, I do generally tend to want to destroy their lives. But with Jared, I kid.
Yeah. I'm that special. But anyway, yeah. So what's been going on, brother?
Just working on my comic, driving myself insane, giving myself way too many tasks.
I know the feeling, brother. I know the feeling.
Man, I'm hosting a writer's submission thing that I'm realizing I wasn't doing a great job promoting because I was promoting my comic. I'm not going to launch 3 campaigns for my next one, by the way. Not going to do it.
That's a good idea.
I have them all this time around. So that's been good. I'm finishing up the book, like making sure it comes out and is on time. I was going back and forth the printer, which is fun. By that I mean it's not at all. I'm at like the not fun part, so I keep trying to give myself fun things to work on.
That works.
But then I remember that also takes work.
Yeah, I know the feeling, dude. It's like with me, I'm doing YouTube. I got my own comic, and it's like trying to not go crazy reading Tom King's Wonder Woman, which I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done with this guy. But how's it going? What's up, Garatina? Kirby says new character unlocked. Yeah, he was on the show before, so just
what? It's good though. It's always someone's first time meeting me, which is good. It's always good.
By the way, I recently watched Sonic 3 for the first time.
Yeah.
Good Lord, that was awesome.
Awesome, you said?
Yes, awesome.
I was about to go.
I was like, oh my, because I'm a huge Shadow the Hedgehog fan.
Delivers.
It's like that one scene where they're like in the caves and he's hunting them down. It's like it's a Batman Arkham game.
Oh, dude, it's so good. I rewatched it. It's like it really is so well done. Like every scene in that movie is because I was rewatching it. I'm like, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good. There's oh my god, I loved it. I loved it so much. And I can't wait for the next one.
They both go super, and then the song from Sonic Adventure 2 starts playing. I'm like, oh yes.
Dude, it was so because it was genuinely a good. Yeah. I'm like, is it nostalgic? No, it's genuinely a great movie.
Yeah, it should be me because I don't have that much of an attachment to the Sonic franchise. Even I was like, yeah, this is dope.
Yeah, people, it's great because, like, first of all, most people, if anything, I would argue, are biased against Sonic these days. Especially. So for so many people to go into that movie and walk out going, dude, that was really good. Like, that was really good.
I also laughed out loud when Eggman goes, I'm well familiar with self-torture. I sat through the 2011 Green Lantern movie.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, dude, but it was really, and even me, I played like 06. I played the Shadow the Hedgehog game, which was badass. That was the one thing I wish they could have done on Shadow's intro. They play like the intro from the game.
I Am All of Me.
Yeah, if they had done that, I would have been like, that would be this close. But the fact that they gave Shadow a gun, I was like,
dude, and the motorcycle, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, he's on well, Hollywood giving a good guy a gun. I'm like,
well, he was bad in that moment, so let's see if they'd give him guns back now that he's good.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Now, does he need a gun? Like, probably not, but like,
but it's badass.
It's cool. Yeah, it's the same thing. Does he need a motorcycle? Absolutely not. But
yeah, why would he? The dude can, for all we know, fly with his jet skates. So, but yeah, it's one of those movies where, well, even all the Sonic movies were the kind where even if you're not if you're not like a big Sonic like fanboy, like you said, you're watching out that movie going, yes, it's just a fun movie.
It reinvigorated my love for the character, and I got to keep riding it out.
Can you imagine if they kept in the old character design?
Oh, God.
I just love the internet reaction was that, like, severe, where they were like, okay, no. And by Kirby says, I'm a big Sonic fan, so hearing Live and Learn playing in the movie theater was like hearing the Christopher Reeve Superman theme for the first time. True. Or, like, it was basically that like that moment in Avengers Endgame. So I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of works.
Awesome.
But yeah, so how's issue 2 coming along, bro?
Coming along very well. And then I'm just hoping to get those numbers up because we want to print this baby, get it out there. But it's going well, man. You know, I have digital options this time around. It's also issue 1 is on Global Comics. You can read the first 10 pages free, or you can read it on Global Comics. But it's going well. You know, the book is basically done. I just have like one small lettering revision, and then we're getting the issue 3 cover colored because we like to put the cover at least for the next issue in the back of this one. And then also, while I'm doing that, I do have a horror anthology short story collection that I'm doing. So if you're anyone who's a writer or an artist, if you want to submit black and white artwork, or if you want to submit, you know, a short story, you have until St. Patrick's Day to do it, which is what I was working on before this.
Oh, sweet.
I was like, you know what? I want to write one more.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. But yeah, and with me, I'm all done writing and it's all drawn. So I'm waiting to launch mine in October.
That's awesome, dude. It's all done, or it's
pretty much all done.
So why are you waiting until October?
Because the character's inspired by Wonder Woman, and October is the anniversary of when she first showed up.
Oh, nice.
So I'm kind of going for that on a thematic style. And yeah, so Kirby's talking about horror. Yeah, exactly. Horror comics are an interesting bunch, and I see.
Well, it's not a horror comic, by the way. Let me just clear. It's short stories written.
Okay.
With some illustrations.
Oh, okay.
You can keep going off on horror comics, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Because the thing about horror media in general, I never kind of understood the appeal. It's like when I'm watching like trailers for like horror movies on there, my dad and I always look at each other like, who's paying for this?
Me. Well, actually, not always. You know, I don't know. There's something about horror that I've always loved. And you know what's interesting about the genre is whether it's a garbage movie or a great movie, they tend to do well. Like bad horror, there's something appealing about it. If it's in that middle area, you know, it has to be like the right amount. But I mean, I don't know. I like it. I like stories that stick with you. I think I've done some of my best writing in these horror stories personally. Like, so I'll tell you, like one of my things that the artist who just messaged me that I'm talking with, basically there's an anti-hero character in my universe, is edgy anti-hero character. And, I'm like, what if I did? Because you know how like in the Arkham games, like Batman scares the crap out of thugs, or you'll have like occasional stories or parts where it's from their perspectives. I was like, what if I did a horror story from the perspective of people being hunted by a brutal anti-hero?
Hey, so essentially they're being hunted by the Punisher.
He's different from I would say this character, I'm trying not to give too much away, but you know what? I'll tell bits and pieces. He's a mix between like the Punisher, Jason Voorhees, Nightcrawler, Ghost Rider. Yeah, we'll throw out a little Shadow the Hedgehog in there. Red Hood.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. I'll take that one. But that's kind of
keep an eye on my socials for more on that. Join my mailing list.
Heck yeah. That's kind of cool because it's like I've always said, by the way, it would be kind of cool in that sense to like get to get more media that's like from the criminal's perspective against the anti-hero. Like there is, say what you want about the Suicide Squad game, there is a moment where you're being hunted by Batman and they make it just as terrifying. So I'm like, you could definitely do that. I've long said that that it would be kind of cool if like they did straight up a movie where it's the criminals trying to escape from Batman or the Punisher or Red Hood or something like that.
Well, those would all be very different. You know, like obvious. All right, because it would be Batman would be interesting. They wouldn't. That's why you know what I really liked that it seemed like no one else liked. And to be fair, I didn't play it much after, but that multiplayer mode in Arkham Origins I actually really liked, and I feel like I'm the only one. I thought it was awesome.
I didn't know Arkham Origins had multiplayer.
Yeah, it did when it first came out. It was really cool. I liked it. I mean, It seems like not a lot of other people did, but I liked it because it was 3v3v2. So it was like Joker thugs versus Penguin thugs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Batman and Robin.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, I forget the exact rules, but it was fun. I remember because it would be like you'd be shooting someone off, and then Batman would just pick you off, and or you'd see your friend get picked off by Batman. Like, no. And I don't know. I thought it was cool.
That is actually really cool. I wish they did more of that.
Yeah, I think the potential was there to expand on it. I would love the full game out of that. Honestly, I think it had that potential, and I think they dropped it because they wanted their because I think it detracted from their overall game score, and like they wanted another Arkham City 10 out of 10. Which they never got, although I heard the new Arkham, what was it? Arkham
Shadows.
The VR one?
Yeah.
I heard that was good.
I heard that was good too. I think the problem with that...
I'm not buying VR on this budget though.
No. I think the problem with the Origins multiplayer is that it was attached to Origins, and that's already a very controversial Batman game. Even though I played it, it's not that bad.
It's good. I mean,
it's really good.
remember liking the Joker twist when it first happened, but I can understand why people don't like it. I remember going, "Yo, that's sick," but now I get it. I do get why people think it's stupid because it has to be the Joker every time.
Well, the other thing is my part that really had me stuck for a week was the Deathstroke boss battle, because that is insanely difficult. Insanely. And I'm like, well, kudos on you guys for recreating what it's like to actually fight Slade Wilson. But it's because he counters your every move, and it's you can't directly punch him because then he'll block you.
Boss. I would watch people play that boss over and over again. I thought that was such a good boss because it felt like a true Deathstroke fight. You know what? What game had horrible boss? I gotta say, dude, Arkham Knight was so disappointing. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're gonna have to disagree on that.
Dude, the story. All right, compare the story to the first. You know what? I'll say it. Origins has a better story than Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight has some amazing moments and some amazing lines. It actually has one of my favorite Batman quotes ever.
Which is?
I think it's early on where he talks about his father and he goes, "My dad always had a saying, do the right thing. Nothing else matters." Something to that effect. And I remember going, and the music starts swelling when he's doing the pop. That. It has some great emotional moments, but it has some shit the whole... some plot points that just make no sense. Also, I remember actually, funny enough, I haven't watched him in years, but Jeremy Johns made a good point. So if you look at Arkham Asylum and Arkham City and Arkham Origins, the plot is constantly evolving. But if you look at Arkham Knight, it starts with Batman has to take down Scarecrow and Arkham Knight. Ends with him taking down Scarecrow and Arkham Knight. There's never none of the other villains have an impact on the story in any real capacity. They're all relegated to side missions. And it would be great if the main story was amazing, but I just don't think it was.
Well, the other thing is if you know Batman lore, you know who the Arkham Knight is within.
I actually saw it. I remember seeing it on Instagram comment.
Yeah, it's I remember Honest Trailer was okay, so he's a young man who uses guns, who has a red mask, and if you don't know who that is, welcome to your first Batman story.
And then they started showing the Jason Todd flashbacks. I remember seeing the comments that it was Jason Todd, and I was like, oh. But here's the thing: I've seen false spoilers before, so I'm like, whatever. And then he starts talking, and immediately goes, "I know how you think, Batman." And then they start, "Oh, isn't it interesting that 4 games in, they finally decide to start heavily referencing Jason Todd, who has not once been mentioned in Arkham City, in Arkham Asylum, and Arkham Origins. Never. Well, Arkham Origins, it wouldn't make sense, but never once. There's that one tiny reference where Joker in an optional side, what was it called? The Riddler Revenge Challenge. There's one optional line where Joker goes, didn't I kill you already, Robin?" That is the closest I recall us getting to a Jason reference. Suddenly there's this new guy who showed up, and suddenly we're getting all this info dump on Jason Todd.
I wonder who it is.
I wonder who it could possibly be. This original character.
Yeah, again, plus
if you read, do not steal.
Well, plus if you read the comics beforehand, It was because the Arkham origin, like, I mean, the Arkham Knight, like, prequel comic spoiled who it was, like, instantly. And I'm like, okay, but any Batman fan going into that, even if you ignore, like, the Jason Todd part, from the very beginning, the dude that uses guns that says, I know you, Batman, and he's a young sounding guy. I think that what probably happened is, like, they're like, okay, we don't have to necessarily explain all this stuff because Batman, because if you read Batman comics, you know who Jason Todd is, so we don't have to, like, go into all that. But it's like, I think I agree with you. It's kind of lazy storytelling. Just kind of.
It's. I mean, it's like, I don't understand why they didn't just have, like, why did it need to be called Arkham Knight? I get you needed the title Arkham in there, but, like, you could have just had
Arkham Fear.
Arkham Fear.
It's dealing with the Scarecrow.
Let's see. What would be some other ones? I mean, it doesn't matter. The game's out already. Like, what are we gonna? You know what I mean? But
I will say the game visually holds up very well.
Beautiful game. Although Poison Ivy isn't as hot as she was in Arkham City, and that was disappointing.
And Asylum, yeah, that's true. Although ridiculous. I did like the sheer number of suits that you can wear, and the fact they added in the
that was so good, dude. And then the different Batmobile, and also how with the Batmobile, if you changed it would affect gameplay. I wasn't even crazy about the Batmobile. I liked parts of it, and then parts I didn't like.
But the minute you make it so I can drive around in the Ben Affleck Batmobile, just drive around Gotham and, like, run over criminals, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty dope.
I think, you know what's my favorite Batmobile design probably still?
Which is
probably, and I haven't rewatched this movie since before I even started reading comics, actually, come to think of it. The 1989 Batman movie. So I haven't seen this movie in probably
that's everyone's favorite design for the Batmobile.
And it's not, I know, it's not like, look, I don't think the movie's perfect and whatever. Again, I haven't rewatched it.
Even though Batman straight up murders in that.
Exactly. It's a big problem, the film. You know, I would say, like, that Batmobile design is so good. It's so good. Love it.
It's up there. For the longest time, my favorite was the Tumbler from
Dark Knight,
because it's a freaking tank.
It's pretty cool.
He's driving a black tank.
Yeah.
See, my other problem is, so in the challenge maps in Arkham Knight, they have racetracks for each of the Batmobiles. But when you're in the Adam West one, it plays the old Adam West theme. But when you're doing the Batman Begins one, it doesn't play the Christopher Nolan theme.
Dude, you know what? I feel like a fraud because I have a jet that shows up in Phenomenova issue 3, and I still have a placeholder name for the jet. I don't have a name for the jet yet. And I feel like a fraud. But you know what's funny is I remember people were talking about this. Samus Aran has a very iconic ship.
Yeah.
There's no name for the ship.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's just Samus's ship. They have never had a name for that ship.
I never noticed that. That's actually
I remember seeing it trending on Twitter. They were like, do you guys just notice that? And then people were like, wait a minute. Hold on. Really? And they were like pouring through the games. Like, yeah, they've never named the ship ever.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes that happens, I guess. We have, you know, meanwhile, Batman has a name for every little gadget.
Well, because all he has to do is put Bat in front of the name of the gadget. That's really easy.
Bat Claw, well, I guess the grapple gun, they just kind of call it
a Bazooka. Yes, they had that. In the
I'm sure they did.
And the
Bat Bomb. The Bat credit card.
You know, never leave the cave without it. I'm like, oh god. But it's like but I think one of the issues I have, pun intended, with the character of Batman is just the way they use the contingency, the prep time to basically say Batman could beat anyone, and I'm like,
I used to be one of those people that would bang that drum.
Really?
Oh, he could beat literally anyone. I realize I'm like, am I even having fun being a Batman fan anymore? Or I'm just arguing it? Because I'd come up with my own ideas for Batman stories and he'd never lose anything. And I'm like, dude, I can't even write the character anymore. Like, I still think that generally, but you could also argue, to be fair, that any character can beat anyone if you write the right circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that theoretically Batman can, but I don't think he has to. Like, I don't like when people say he can't beat Superman. No, he has, and Superman has beaten Batman. I've since chilled out a bit, but I used to be like on the diehard. Yeah.
Yeah, I was that one a-hole that was like, oh yeah, Batman could totally beat Goku.
I never watched Dragon Ball, but
me neither. But I'm sure he has contingency plans for.
Oh, but I would argue it, even if like I remember one kid goes, "You think Batman could beat God?" And I was like, "Yes," unironically.
Well, he's beaten Dark.
And they were like they would laugh at me at middle school, and that's who and like now I'm like, you guys are dumb, you don't know, and I'm like, no, I feel dumb now.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Part of growing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you look back and look at the stuff we argued about. It's like, do we really care? It's like, could Batman beat Optimus Prime? Okay, so. But did you see that and apparently DC is doing a DC Sonic the Hedgehog crossover comic now?
DC is what?
Yeah, they're doing a DC Sonic crossover. You know they're gonna have Red Hood hang out with Shadow.
What?
I'll pull it up.
No way!
Yeah, it's real.
Shadow as Batman, Sonic as Flash. That makes sense. Amy, this is on the DC official. What? This is crazy. Tails is Cyborg, I guess. Silver as Green. These are actually not bad picks. I kind of dig all these.
Yeah, and they're actually doing a comic about it, and I'm like, okay, so when they did DC, and they did the Justice League versus Godzilla and Kong, I had the same response. I'm like, of all the crossovers that you could have announced, I did not see this coming. This one I legitimately did not see coming.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I mess with it. Let's see. Like, I mean, if we were to keep going, like, man, they've like Cyborg is just officially just part of the Justice League. Like, I mean, I know he always has been. I mean, not always has been, but has been
since 2012.
Yeah, since 2012. Rest in peace, Martian Manhunter being a key core member of the team.
Yeah, but see, the problem with Martian Manhunter being like one of the founders of the league is he's basically just another Superman.
I mean, yeah, but he's actually, if anything, like in some ways more powerful than his power set is like insane.
Ridiculously, yeah. It's like if you have Superman, you want to limit the superpower people, because why even have a Batman then on the league if you're gonna replace it with like all the god characters?
Because you need Batman.
Well, yeah,
he's epic.
Yeah, well, the one time that they tried having all of the D-listers on there, which is like Guy Gardner and like Fire and Ice, they kept Batman on there, and then Batman punched Guy Gardner in the face.
That's I know. I need to read that. The JL. No, it's JLI. That's it. Yeah.
That's the team that got their asses kicked by Doomsday when Doomsday first showed up.
Yeah, I gotta read that. Man, I haven't been reading a ton lately, but you know what? I started reading Invincible, and I'm almost done with Chris Claremont's X-Men run. I'm very close, but I think I'm gonna plow through Invincible, like see if I can marathon it.
I'm reading those too as well. I started going through the comics because of the show. I'm actually in keeping with the show, so it's really good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish. I caught up on the show just this weekend. I was like, I'd only seen season 1. I just plowed through it this weekend.
It's ridiculously good. Like, wow.
Yeah, I caught up last night. Yeah, I'm really happy with the show, and yeah, I'll probably keep reading some Invincible, and then maybe I'll do some videos talking about it, and maybe we could even have a discussion.
You know what I thought of is so last time you were on, you and I talked about The Boys and how like it kind of devolved, and a part of my issue with The Boys is that it's coming from the perspective of someone that clearly hates superhero comics, but when you look at Invincible, it's kind of it's kind of doing the same thing as The Boys, except it's doing it in a way where it's coming from someone that likes superheroes.
Yeah, I don't think it's like The Boys at all. I think it's genuinely what I think, in all honesty, is I think it is a true superhero story.
Mm-hmm.
Like as dyed in the wool as you can get, just more violent. Like
Yeah.
I really do. I don't think it's a cynical superhero story. Really.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just how Kirkman wanted to, because I was thinking about it and I'm like, this is a lot of the stuff people talk about. Like, oh, I bet you could use their powers to do this messed up. And he just goes, well, we don't have the comics code. We don't have to market to children. So we could do all that, but it's still a superhero story, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's one of the things I like about it is it's not, you know, Mark still tries not to kill. You know, he tries not to, he wants to redeem his father. He's, it's a superhero story where the bad stuff happens. Like that horrible, like you wouldn't see that kind of mass murder you saw in the Invincible finale really in DC. Although I will say Throne of Atlantis, I was shocked by how many people, like innocent people get killed in that the Justice League can't save. I was like, wow, they went there. But, you know, generally you don't see that kind of mass death.
They don't like hyper like
or like that like I would never see in a DC comic.
No, they would never do the train. No.
And for the record, they shouldn't.
Yeah,
but Invincible goes there, but it's not just, it's because we're like, okay, the parameters in this world are bigger. We can do that. And it doesn't feel like it's all one commentary. Not every character feels like it's inspired by a character that exists, but it's not meant to be like, this character is this character is this person, this character is this person. It's like the closest was the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
It was off very quickly.
Clearly you know the Justice League. I'm like, oh, okay, I know who you are.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great, and it's one of those superhero stories where I'm going back and I'm looking at my work and I'm going, man, am I living up? Because but it's inspiring, you know, because I'm like, if he can do it, I could do it. It's just, it'll take a lot of work, but I could do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and I'm watching it, and it's again, it's clearly coming from the perspective of like, this is someone that likes superheroes. Whereas The Boys is like, this is someone that obviously hates superheroes, hence, which is why all the superheroes are dicks in that show. Yeah. But it's like to your point, is like Invincible. No, he very much still, in many ways, Mark acts a lot like Superman in that universe, even though Omni-Man is kind of the Superman-like character, even though it follows that evil Superman trope, but a redeemed Superman trope. So it's kind of like it takes it and it twists it a little bit. You know, the like, what's the word? Storytelling convention a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, it works. It's two versions of Evil Superman, Homelander and Omni-Man, that work. And it also showed, like, because I was always like, oh, the generic, because I'd want to create a character, because I've made a bunch of shorts that I'm going to upload, but he has the generic grab bag of powers. Like, Invincible's powers are the most generic powers you can have. Super speed, strength, and vulnerability, and flight. That is literally just the grab bag, the generic grab bag. And you know what? And all the Viltrumites have that, but they make it work. You know why? Because the characters are good and the story is good. And the thing is, those powers alone, there's a lot you can learn. I actually find that like limiting your powers of the characters, like when I write, helps. Like there's one character who I had from her inception, I wanted her to fly. And then my artist and I was like, maybe I'll take it away. I'll add it back, take it away. And my artist and I kind of decided, let's remove it. We actually found that I find myself getting more creative with how this character moves about. That character will be introduced in issue 3, but issue 2 because you know, you know, so Phenomenova is basically, I don't know if you have, I have a couple of links if you want me to share.
Sure. Yeah. Good.
So what is your audience? All right, this is why I have so many. So I guess I'll promote the Kickstarter, although it's also on Indiegogo.
Yeah, cool.
Which do you have a preference?
Whichever one you want to show.
All right, we'll do Kickstarter, but just know it's also, because it's funded on there, but just know it's also on Indiegogo. It'll probably hit the Indiegogo goal. It's also on Fund My Comic, so wherever you decide to go, it is there. And regardless of wherever you back, it does contribute to the overall backer rewards, by the way.
That works. There you go.
So yeah, Phenomenova is my superhero story set 20 years after World War III and follows the next generation of heroes rising up. In the first issue, we saw Miles fail to strike out on his own. And now we're seeing him rise up again. Well, he has to get knocked down before he gets up again. And we're going to see that. So this is one of the veteran heroes that fought during the war who's really going to take him to task and show him what it means to be a hero. You know, again, coming back to Invincible, he learns some harsh lessons, but he doesn't go, I'm giving up on superheroism. It's BS. Like, I've talked to Garth Ennis in person at a con, and he goes, yeah, you know, superheroes, you learn they're a bunch of bullshit. Like, and that's not my stance, you know, and listen, it's his stance, and, you know, he's a good writer, right? But I'm someone who's like, no, he can be a superhero. He just was going about it the wrong. He had the right ideals, but he's going about it the wrong way. And this issue is kind of a reaffirmation of everything I love about the superhero genre. It's Miles digging down to the core of who he is and finding what it means to be a hero while going through some training and introducing some new characters. It's 24 pages, this comic, and it's fully colored. We just have like a few tiny lettering revisions. You know, I missed something, and I want to make sure that that's caught before we go to print. And it's basically done and ready to go. We're getting the printer numbers ready, so make sure you back. We have the variant covers. We have the Mel Ruby cover right there, and the Mariano Chapo cover right there.
It's a good one.
Yeah, so we also have digital options too, if you prefer that. But obviously, the rewards go out to the physical backers. So if you do that, make sure you do that.
So let me ask you this: what lessons did you learn and apply going from issue 1 to 2?
Ooh, what lessons did I learn going from 1 to 2? Well, I learned a couple of things. One of the things I learned in going from 1 to 2 is to kind of ease off my artist a bit and not nitpick every little thing. I think it kind of stuff. Another thing I learned is to snap more to the point with my writing, while also, you know, being looser. I became a better storyteller, a better writer, a better collaborator. In every aspect, I think I'm better. To go with the flow a bit more. Except one thing here, like actually, all these pages here are actually kind of revised. So actually, I had some people gave me feedback, and they were like, hey, you can adjust these angles so they're more dynamic. And actually, credit where it's due. Mike S. Miller, who did the Injustice stuff, was in a stream with me after. He goes, send me those files. I'll just make a few little revisions. And most of them we kept. So I'd say, like, learning to make changes. Also knowing that sometimes things just have to be done. I would say with 24 pages in this book, I learned to maximize the page more. And also, when, like, okay, I have this many dialogue pages. Is that worth it? Okay, does each they're all progressing the plot. It makes you kind of more aware of the space you're using up. I now have a better understanding of the printing process, although I'm still learning things. Like, even today, I learned some stuff. So I made sure to get it done more in advance. So we're basically doing these last couple revisions and then getting it ready for the printer. So the printer turnaround time should be much faster this time around. The book was done way earlier this time around. The artwork way earlier than I launched. My artist has been so busy, which gives me more time to kind of promote, you know.
That works. Yeah, so it's one of the things that even I had to learn when I was writing mine is, is everything I'm putting on this page, like all the dialogue, important to the plot? Because there are some times where I'll write this in. Oh, this is really snappy. I think that this will be a good line. And then my editor came back to me and he was like, should this be on here? Because you only have a little bit of page space. So
yeah. That was a thing. And sometimes I justify it and sometimes I can't. And sometimes you justify it until you see it lettered. So one thing I learned is to get more of those revisions out of the way before you letter. Listen to your editor. That's important. You know, there's so many things. I guess, honestly, having faith in your work can be good too. Like all the second guessing everything. I have more confidence with this issue. Doesn't mean, but you know, because I'd be like, oh my God, like everyone really liked the first issue. What if they don't like this one because it's shorter and blah, 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 blah. And then everyone who reads it is like, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm like, okay, it's good, you know.
Yeah.
So, kind of, I guess, having more confidence with it. Some other important lessons: you don't have to print 1,000 mini prints.
Mm-hmm.
Most people want the book, but give those extra incentives. But you don't have to go too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of my bits of advice.
Mm-hmm. But to review for the people at home, like what other like comics or regular stories inspired this whole series?
Oh man, I pulled from a lot of stuff. I've been thinking about it. So I pulled from a lot of animated stuff like Spectacular Spider-Man, Young Justice, really like Greg Weisman stuff, the DCAU stuff. And then I also pulled from Chris Claremont's X-Men run, the original Stan Lee Spider-Man stuff, Marv Wolfman's New Teen Titans, Frank Miller's Daredevil, like especially that 5-issue miniseries where they do the origin, The Man Without Fear. Robin Year One was an inspiration as well. I love that one. God, there's so many. And then I'm sure like I could think of bits and pieces I pulled from different people, different writers, and different creators. I pull from a lot of stuff. I'll find myself like pulling from, I liked when they did this in Demon Slayer. I find myself pulling from tons of things. So I can't give it any one thing, but I'll say I pull from a lot.
All right, that works. I just recently started reading through all of Chris Claremont's X-Men.
Oh yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Yeah, I'm on the first omnibus. I'm only on the first omnibus, but I'm reading through this and I'm like, yeah, you can start to see a lot of the stuff here's why I like going back and reading all the classic stuff, because
you start to see it build into what it is today, right?
Yeah, all the
that
stuff
was so exciting.
That like I take for granted.
Yes,
like having Wolverine on the X-Men, and I'm like, oh,
having him have a name.
Comes from.
How about the fact that he's just he's not even Logan for the longest time. Like he's just Wolverine, like everyone else. What part are you on?
I am actually. You know what? I'll go get it. Hang on.
What's going on, Edwin?
I also read. I'm also in the middle of reading the original She-Hulk, like not the crappy show She-Hulk. So I am on the issue The Day the X-Men Died. So that's issue 114, I believe. But Jean has just become the Phoenix, and that was like, see, I was re-watching the Dark Phoenix movie, and one of the problems with that movie, well, I was bored. So what's kind of funny about that is I happened to talk to Chris Claremont at a con once, and one of the things that he said is that the problem with that movie is because of the Captain Marvel movie, they significantly changed the ending of that movie to the point where Jean was supposed to go like binary, because that's like what the Phoenix allows. But because Captain Marvel went binary in the movie, they didn't want people getting confused. And those aliens that show up were supposed to be Skrulls.
Yeah. Well, either way, it would have been stupid, because why would the Skrulls be in the Dark Phoenix saga? They're not part of that in the comics.
Yeah, that's true.
So either way, it was dumb.
Either way, it was dumb. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so I was rewatching that, and I'm like, see, here's the problem with that movie. In addition to the other stuff in the movie, is that the reason why the Phoenix saga and Dark Phoenix saga works here is because you spend so much time setting up Jean Grey.
Like 40
in that, a couple of movies. I'm like, no, arguably Phoenix should have been like the end game of like a series of X-Men movies, like the one that you really build up to.
Yeah. I mean, all right. So that run is just, but yeah, I mean, that's amazing. I'm almost done. Like I'm at like Gambit's the newest member of the team. I literally have basically 2 stories left, and then I have an X Factor story, but I'm about to read Invincible because it's topical. Want to see if I could capitalize on any of that, and then I'll finish off that run.
That one works, yeah. In terms of and then the other thing that I really liked reading through, like through that, is seeing where X-Men 97 pulled, because it's pretty much page to screen, like wow. And so I want to ask you this. So what do you think about the fact that in season 2, they're basically going with the Grant Morrison new X-Men, it seems, because they're putting him in the black suits.
For X-Men 97?
Yeah.
Man, without Bo DeMaio, I don't know. Because
Yeah.
he did such a good job with
Yeah, it's.
the original.
Did you see his video he put on his YouTube channel where he like basically blasted Marvel and like all the stuff they did? Like apparently Marvel was upset that Bo was stuck on having Cyclops be the leader of the X-Men.
Really?
Yeah, they told him he had to turn off his comic collector brain. And they're adapting a comic book show. Imagine that.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, what's up, Cameron? Good to see you. Yep.
I'm gonna have to watch this video because I was on a live stream with Bo actually a while ago, and we were reviewing X-Men 97.
And yes, the original She-Hulk run is pretty good. She always ends up in the same like torn white shirt, but I'm like, okay, that's cool. But
are we talking the original run, or are we talking the John Byrne run?
Very original.
The original. Okay, I haven't seen that.
But did you see the new Spider-Man show?
No.
You should. The first 2 episodes are meh, but it picks up afterwards.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. It because the first 2 episodes are really slow. But once you like get past those, it really picks up. But I also here's how much of a sadist I am. I also completed the Acolyte.
Why? I haven't watched. See, I don't. I've been so off with all that stuff.
It's so bad. Because I was 3 episodes in, so I figured, okay, it's only got a short amount left. I'll finish it. It wasn't good. It just
shocked,
wasn't.
I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Shocked. But so there's that. So what are the perks, by the way, that we can expect from issue 2?
Well, if you scroll down to the bottom here, if you're not a day one backer, go back up a bit, a little bit. There you go. That trading card right there. You got a trading card of Hotline. So they're going to be higher quality trading cards than the last campaign, thicker trading cards, thicker stock. So absolutely make sure you guys get that if you're interested. So we have the Hotline trading card right there. And then if we hit 10K across all 3 platforms, Kickstarter, FundMyCom, Indiegogo, everyone gets a trading card with this art right here of the Phoenix Senshi.
Oh, dope. I like that one. It's got kind of a watercolor look. That's actually really cool. I like that.
Yeah. And then if we get 15K, everyone gets the Rebel Oasis sticker. And then 20K, basically we're like getting ready for Phenomenova issue 3. But maybe I'll change that goal, but I don't know if we're even going to hit that. So we'll focus on the other ones. But yeah, this is all going back into the company. None of it's going to me, guys. And I go back into production to make the best book possible and to make the next book just as great, if not better. Actually, better. You know, we're going to try to improve with every issue, right?
There you go.
That's the goal.
And
to continue the story, right? We have 8 issues written, and many more planned out.
Heck yeah. But and so my final question for you, and then we'll start to wrap up, is so how many issues are you planning on doing, or is this going to be ongoing until you get tired and all that stuff?
Yeah, basically until I'm done with it. Yeah.
Oh, dope. Yeah, that works. That works. With mine, it's like I have a plan for at least 12, but if it's successful enough, I can go on with that. But it's like one of those loose plans and stuff. But so actually, here's the last question: who is your favorite character that you created with this? Pick a favorite child.
They have to be in issues 1 and 2, correct?
Yes.
All right. Within issues 1 and 2. Oh God. I like Galvanite a lot. I like. Man, I really like Darkcloud. I really like Estrella, and I really like the Phoenix Senshi. But I think right now, Honestly, just because I've been with him for so long, I think I'll go with Galvanite. His name changed so many times, but Galvanite, yeah.
There you go. That works.
He's my favorite because he's the one that's brought me all this time.
That is awesome. I can't wait to see more of that. So, Vaughn, thanks for coming on. Where can we find you? And what have you got coming out content wise?
You can find me on my YouTube channel. It's Vaughn Coleman. You can find me on Twitter at Vaughn M Coleman. You can find me on Instagram, Vaughn Coleman. I'm also on TikTok as well. You could make sure to subscribe to my email list at rebeloasisstudios.com. That is the name of my website. I'm also on Global Comics. In fact, you could read my first published work, which is a 10-page short story for free on there. And you can also read the first 10 pages of Phenomenova for free. So make sure you guys get on that. Tons of great stuff out there. What can you expect? You can expect Phenomenova issue 2 and also my horror short story collection. If you go to my website and go to the Coming Soon section, not only can you find all the Phenomenova issue 2 campaign links, but you can also find Reapers in Pursuit on there. So make sure to check that out.
All right,
Reapers in Pursuit, and you could submit by St. Patrick's Day.
All right, and all links will be in the description. And thanks for coming on, bro. Come on again real soon.
I'd love to, man. Thank you.
All right. Stay heroic, everyone. We will see you later. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.